Okay. I forgot to turn the mic on. Hello, Team Rotary. It is game day. Today's Thursday, and where else would you rather be than right here, right now, in Rotary on a Thursday? Okay, music. Today's song. Love this so much. So today's song is from Noelle Moxley. Noelle is a Hall of Famer, and she's also this year's attendance chair. Noelle's music has been a large part of her life. It has gotten her through hard times and lots of good times. She's a classical person, and her favorite opera is La Bohème by Puccini. It was the first opera she saw. She was 8, and her grandparents took her to Ford's Theater in Baltimore. She has seen lots of performances, including the Seattle Opera, and she cries every time when Mimi dies. She knows she's going to die, and she just cries anyway. Noelle says it's a beautiful piece, and O Mio Babino Caro is one of her favorites, and that is added to thousands of other favorites that she has. So there is a little bit more about Noelle Moxley and the opera. Thank you, Noelle. I told her I Googled this and learned all about this opera, and now I have to go see it. And that's what I love about music this year and doing this is education about the song and education about the Rotarian as well. Fun stuff. Okay. Maybe I'll just leave that going. Our greeters today were Liz Hobson from the Yakima Valley Museum and Jolene Sita with Triumph Treatment Services. So thank you, ladies, for greeting. And now for a little bit of inspiration, I'd like to bring up Amy Mabe. Amy is with Amy Mabe and Associates, which is a Keller Williams Yakima Valley real estate team. Amy.
Thanks, Coach. Okay, so you can sit down. I remembered that this time. I was listening to a podcast several weeks ago, and I thought, this would be great for the next time I get to do the inspiration. So I don't know if anybody else has ever done this, but I have my 2 phones. Yes, I have 2 phones because I have a business and I have a life. So I have 2 phones. But I was voice recording the podcast onto my notes app from the podcast so I could copy it down. Well, when it came out and I looked at my notes app yesterday, I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. So I had to go through, do some editing. I hope it makes sense. I did have Chat GPT check some grammar here. But it was just a really good message about how we spend our waking hours, which I always say we only have 168 hours, everybody, each week. So plug in your sleep time, plug in your work time, but make sure you plug in your play time and other things. So there's a real danger in working too much or pushing too hard. You can become exceptionally efficient machine, measuring your worth only by productivity, success, and income. When that happens, it's easy to let your life revolve entirely around achievement and financial gain while losing sight of deeper perspective. But you're not a machine. You're a human being created for far more than generating economic value. A meaningful life requires a full portfolio, not just work, but also time and energy spent lifting others up, building relationships, and pursuing things that may never bring recognition or financial reward. True leisure isn't about idleness. It's about connection, growth, and deepening your understanding of faith and others. The sooner you make space for those things, the richer your life becomes. Because money and power don't create lasting happiness. Only love, service, and purpose do. Success, then, isn't just what you achieve. It's how you use it to bring people together and make a difference in their lives. Something worth regularly reminding oneself. So have a busy spring and summer, but make sure you make time for fun, fellowship, and downtime too. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, if I could have all of our guests stand up so we can acknowledge you for being here today. You are our MVPs. Now we have quite a few. There we go. So thank you so much for being here. I am Sherry Bissell, and I am very proud and honored to be the 107th president of this Rotary Club. We were chartered in 1919. For those of you that don't know that, we are the original Yakima Rotary Club. As I like to say, the OG. We are Team Rotary. We unite for good. We like to be the good and do good in this community of Yakima and beyond. So if you want to be a part of that, we would love to have you. We will draft you on our team in a minute. You can take any one of the blue cards on the table or talk to any of us, and we would be happy to let you know a little bit more about being a Rotarian. Okay, and speaking of being a Rotarian, I have a blue badge to give away to Red Rookie Mitchell Acosta. If you could come up here. Mitchell became a member last September, and Mitchell is with Key Bank. He's no longer a rookie. No more rookie for Mitchell. Okay, a few announcements. Our last round of allocation and review grants is upon us. That deadline is tomorrow. Hi, tomorrow's May 1st. That's what's happening there. So the deadline is tomorrow. If you know of a 501c3 that's doing a special project or something that they could use a little bit of help on with some funding, have them go to our website and download that grant application and fill it out so very quickly and get it to the Rotary office tomorrow, May 1st. A few events, exciting things going on. Tonight at 5:30, we will be at the Yakima Tennis Club for Rotary Bunko Night. And this is a fundraiser for Rotary charities. So it's not too late, I don't think, right? No, Margaret's saying no. It is not too late. You can still come out tonight. You don't have to have any skills. No skills, people. See, now that's much easier, isn't it? No skills. You just have to roll the dice. That's it. And have fun. That's the other thing. No skill required. Just have fun. And it's for Rotary charity, so it will be fun, and we'll be helping at the same time. Also, another event, I've mentioned this before, but again, on Saturday, May 16th, our friends at Toppenish Rotary will be celebrating 100 years with an event at Mount Adams Golf Club. The information's on the screen. They will have live music, a prime rib dinner, some dancing. They would really love to see perhaps a couple of our downtown Rotarians there. We did sponsor the Toppenish Rotary Club when they were chartered. So very exciting for them. So if you can go to that, please do so. I have the information also. If you want to see me afterwards for that, I can get you the information for that. Next, I do have some sad news to report for those of you that didn't hear. Our beloved Donna Moultrie passed away on Monday, April 20th. And her birthday's actually tomorrow. So her birthday's May 1st, but, so we are thinking of her family for sure, and we will have more on Donna later, and we'll be doing a tribute to her as well really soon. And then just as a reminder, Russ McKinney's celebration of life is today. Today is his birthday, which is why they're having the celebration of life today. So it is right after Rotary. It's at 2:00 at the Yakima Foursquare Church. And we will also be honoring Russ here at Rotary soon when the family is ready to do that. So just wanted to make sure you were all up to date about that. Okay, and now to talk about a historical perspective event coming up, I would like to bring up Ryan Anderson. Ryan is a director. He's a co-chair of the Racial Justice Committee, and he is with the Washington State Department of Ecology. Ryan.
Thanks. Thanks, President Sherry. Hi, Rotarians and guests. So the Racial Justice Committee is hosting a historic perspective. Well, we're actually inviting you to the Sikh Temple, which is you go up down the Ave and up, what's it, Terrace Heights Ave to 4906 Hillcrest Drive. So on May 13th, so that's a week from next Wednesday, 5 to 6 p.m. They'll host us. They'll talk about their community, about the temple, about the work that they do and their faith. I would love to share details, but I am going because I don't know the details. So I can't wait to learn more. I've been talking with some of their leadership, very, very amazing folks. If you've seen the building, it's really an ornate building, and I'm sure it's going to be a great night. So please join us, all the Rotarians, guests, and if you have anybody else that you'd like to bring along, just let Carolyn know so we can kind of get a head count, because they might provide a little bit of food. So we'll find out. So thank you, and hope to see you there.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, and next, for a very special presentation, I would like to bring up David Hargraves. David is a Hall of Famer, being past president in 2012 and 2013. So, David, take it away.
Thank you so much, President Sherry. Deja vu. President Sherry, Rotarians, guests, Erin Lynch is a force of nature. She and her husband, Rob, or late husband, Rob, were also the force behind Lynchpin. When her boys, Jake, now 28, and Drew, now 26, were first diagnosed when they were 4 and 6 years old, the odds were then 1 in 10,000. The odds today are 1 in 34. Erin is an incredible mother, and in 2003, she would take the boys to Seattle 5 days a week to get therapies. She studied everything she could get her hands on and learn about autism, spectrum disorders, and therapies that were the latest and most effective. It can be difficult for kids who have autism to make friends, really difficult. They're often mocked, they're not invited to parties or outings, and Erin was keenly aware of that. She volunteered at Children's Village for 9 years, and one day her son, Drew, came to her and said, "Mom, where can I meet kids that like to do what I do?" That was the catalyst for Lynchpin, a nonprofit that empowers students and their families to connect, to learn, and grow together to achieve social success. Serving the autism community for over 15 years, she's traveled nationally and internationally to participate in seminars on spectrum disorders. She has served on regional as well as state boards for autism. Erin's nature is one of calm acceptance. It allows her to speak to the parents as a peer as well as an authority. Erin and her family largely have funded this endeavor on their own, but they now have a board of directors, had a very successful fundraiser last April, and they now have a foundation to help continue this incredible work, serving over 150 students a week. Erin would often tell people, this just happened. Well, it didn't just happen. It took an amazing woman with vision and tenacity. I would really encourage you to visit the website, the foundation website. There's a wonderful video on there that tells a marvelous story. And I know that it will inspire you as it did me to donate. But in the interim, Erin, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Yakima, I'm honored to present you with an Unsung Hero Award. It reads, "With gratitude and recognition in your exceptional efforts in the creation and maintenance of the Lynchpin Foundation and the unique services it provides to our community. You exemplify Rotary's motto, service above self." There you go. Congratulations.
So well deserved. Thank you for that, David. And thank you so much, Erin, for all you do. Thank you. Okay, next up, and look at her, she's ready. We have Sergeant at Arms with Jadine Corcoran. Jadine is with the Marsh McLennan Agency. Take it away, Jadine.
Stuff out of your way. Thanks, President Sherry, Coach. Appreciate it. Hello, everyone. And I say that to my fellow Rotarians and all of our great guests. It's good to see you all out today because when they asked, would you like to be anywhere else? Well, it is nice out. Golf was kind of calling my name, but I could not resist being here with you. So given our speaker today is Krista Schoening, the director of the Larson Gallery and an artist, I thought it only fitting that we have some fun today with a few artist trivia questions. This will be fun, okay? So play along if you will. You'll see up at the sheet there, the three artists who painted The Last Supper, The School of Athens, and The Creation of Adam, and the sculptor who is best known for the bronze statue of David, all lend their first names to what group of 4 fictional characters? A, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, B, The Untouchables, C, The Penguins of Madagascar, or D, Contra Force? Okay, that's too easy. You are correct. Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. That was too easy, but for those of you that missed it, pay $1 and you should probably go elsewhere. In 2000, Intuitive Surgical Company launched a robotic surgical system to assist surgeons with everything from prostate removals to heart valve repairs. The system was named after which famous artist who was known for his anatomical drawings and a portrait of a smirking lady? A, B, C, or D. You can see the names up there for yourselves. The correct answer is C, Leonardo. Okay, for those of you who are wrong, pay $1. These were way too easy. I thought I'd get away with this, to tell you the truth, because I didn't know the answer to some of them. Okay, I won't share that. Named after a 1950 blues song by Muddy Waters and a 1965 Bob Dylan hit, what magazine's list of the 100 greatest artists of all time includes these 3 selections: Elvis Presley, the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles? Was it classic rock, B, Rolling Stones, C, Uncut, or D, Mojo? So it was B, Rolling Stone. For those of you who missed it, pay $1. These are going to get a little, I only have a couple more, but they are a little more difficult. What American artist of the 20th century was known for his painted covers for the Saturday Evening Post and for chronicling the American spirit in iconic pieces such as Freedom of Speech and Freedom from Want? For those of you who did not get it, it was A, Norman Rockwell. That was easy. Okay, this one is the last one, but the best. Okay. Mariah Carey's Heartbreaker, Beyonce's Crazy in Love, and Rihanna's Umbrella were 3 2000 hit singles featuring the rapping of what owner of Monogram Cannabis Company? A is Outkast, B is Dr. Dre, C, Snoop Dogg, and D, Jay-Z. I thought you'd say that. That's why I put it in there. Wrong. It's D, Jay-Z. I know. That was pretty good. I didn't get that either. So if I could just for a moment, would all of our artists in the room, and that could be music, painting, etc., would you all stand for just a moment? Thank you so much. We need artists in our community. And for everyone else, pay $1. Thank you.
Excellent. Nice job, Jadine. Okay, now to introduce our speaker, I would like to bring up Charlie Robin. Charlie is a director. He's the co-chair of the program committee, and he is with the Capitol Theater. Charlie. Trying to get my stuff out.
Hello. So it is definitely a celebration of the arts today. We've been everything from and culture with Liz welcoming us as we came in, tremendous bits and pieces, and it's always great for me to have the ability to showcase one of my other cultural leaders in the community and also to welcome them to our community. Krista's only been with us for just over a year. She joined us in January of last year, so she still has that new CEO smell. So all mistakes are all forgiven because we're still learning, and that goes till the 2-year anniversary mark, just so you know. She actually comes to us as the director of Larson Gallery, previously as assistant professor of painting at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, but she does have PNW roots. So while she got her MFA in painting and drawing and an MA in art history from University of Washington, she is her own artistic practice engages in the history of botanical painting and still life, using the past as a mirror through which to better understand our present moment. I am so intrigued and want to see how that's expressed in your work, and I so look forward to seeing a showcase of your work specifically. She is exhibited in both commercial and public galleries, including the Susquehanna, thank you, I knew it was going to come in eventually. Susquehanna Art Museum, the Grand Rapids Art Museum, the Amarillo Museum of Art, and Henry Art Gallery. She did bring her husband along with her when she relocated to Yakima. So as Alex, if you haven't had a chance to meet him, another redhead. Highly always recommend bringing in the redheads. They have a cat, Sophie, who's 9 years old. And it is a great pleasure for me to introduce to you and to have you get to know Krista.
Have to bring this down a little bit. Thank you, Charlie, for that really wonderful introduction. Okay, so all right, so today I wanted to talk to you all about creativity and community and the value specifically of the arts, broadly speaking, in community building and in the creation of healthy communities, really. And for you all, this isn't like a lecture where I'm going, hey, you know, I need to convince you of something. This is more a congratulations, because you all are people who know this already. And this is going to be an affirmation of the work you're already doing. So I'm aware, for example, of the Peace Poll that you all were sponsors of, because I was like a tiny little part of that. But that is a great example of a community project that creates a sense of place and a sense of fellowship around the arts. So I want to start by just noting that art making is kind of baked into our species. So humans as creatures are makers of art. It's one of the things that paleoanthropologists talk about when they talk about the differences between early hominids in general and Homo sapiens sapiens in particular, right? Humans are and have been creators of artistic production from the very beginning. And when we think about it as kind of a tendency of our particular species, and also Neanderthals too, but they're probably arguably also humans. So it's kind of a, you know, where do you slice that, right? Some of us, probably myself included, have Neanderthal DNA because I've got European ancestry. But anyway, this is not a lecture about paleoanthropology. This is a lecture about art. So we're going to focus back on that. The idea is that the arts are a tool of the mind in the same way that stone tools were tools that were made for cutting, for example. So the arts are a way of thinking. They represent a way of symbolic and abstract thinking, or sets of ways of thinking that we can think of as mental tools. And I want you to keep that idea with you as we continue through this presentation, which, sorry, I should be timing this so that I don't go over. I forgot to turn on my timer. Okay. And I just want you to keep that idea of the arts as a kind of a mental tool that we can use and make use of to benefit us individually and as a community. So this is the first point that I want to make, and it's one that I'm sure you're all aware of already, so I'm not going to belabor it too much, but arts and economy go together. The arts are a huge contributor to the Washington state economy, to the, economy of the United States in general, but specifically this example is from Washington state that I'm putting up here. And this is particularly it's not just selling paintings, right? Like, I'm talking about people going to see the theater. I'm talking about, people buying tickets to go see shows at art galleries, but also I'm talking about things like the production of games, right? Video games. People who are making those games are trained illustrators, right? They are super skilled artists, and that is part of the arts economy. And that's why that number is kind of so big. But again, in order to get people like that, you need arts from the ground up, right? You need art training in schools. You need art activities in the community if you want to create that kind of artistic excellence at those higher levels of the economy. Also, I'm sure you all know this, but there have been tons of studies about how artists and art activities and art institutions, when they show up in a community, tend to kind of raise the property values. And that is a very controversial point, right? Like, because some people are going, oh gosh, that's gentrification and you're kicking people out of neighborhoods, etc. It's complicated, right? Let's just leave it at that. But it is the case that people like to live in communities where the arts are a visible and vibrant presence. So aside from how we can benefit economically in growing a strong economy for our area through the arts, I also want to talk about resilience as an important characteristic of arts-related thinking. So in these articles that you see posted here, that's just a variety of different approaches to studying how creative thinking and imagination and the arts can kind of help people to become more resilient in the world we live in, because we live we live in a world in which things are changing so incredibly quickly, right? If you think about, for example, careers that used to be extremely lucrative, so programming, I have a lot of friends who've made a lot of money programming, but now it's getting a little bit more difficult. Oh, thanks, Charlie. It's getting a little more difficult to find those jobs because now AI is doing the programming on behalf of the programmers. So we don't need as many programmers as we used to, and the entry-level programming jobs are not as common. So I myself have advised students in the past to look into programming as a career, and I would not do that anymore, right? Because it's not necessarily a solid, 100% secure career option that it used to be. And so that kind of pace of change is just blistering. In order to deal with that, creative thinking is an essential way of kind of coming up with new ways and new approaches and being flexible in the face of that kind of change. So you see, for example, here, there is an article by Deloitte, which is a huge multinational employer. And they're specifically looking now for people who have characteristics that include imagination and empathy, because they see those as essential to moving forward in the economy that we're facing in the future. They believe that the kind of looking for workers who have specific technical skills is no longer what they want. They want people who are flexible, who have imagination, and who have the kind of vision and creativity to deal with these challenges head on and to come up with new ideas. And so the arts are a way of cultivating that actively. If you look at, there are studies of literature and theater that show that empathy can be actually cultivated by putting oneself into the shoes of another mentally, right? So like when you read fiction, you're kind of doing that. You're putting yourself into the main character's role and you're kind of reading through the book and kind of just envisioning these things. And it's actually exercising your imagination and your empathy to do that. And so, going to see a show will help like you to be able to imagine new scenarios. It sounds silly because it's really fun to go see a play or a movie or whatever, but these are things that are important to actually actively cultivate. The same with creativity. It's not something that we're born with or not. I hear that so many times. Me as a painter who has studied for years and years and years, I get people saying to me, oh, well, I could never do that because I'm not talented. And it's not talent, it is practice, right? And again, this is tools of the mind that you are cultivating through creative practice, right? And so appreciating the arts, attending art events, but also making art is incredibly healthy in terms of cultivating this particular tool of the mind, which is creativity. Okay, I also want to talk a little bit about, not just resilience, which is super important for communities in terms of looking at the future and being able to cultivate a healthy community from the point of view of economy and ability to kind of withstand things like shocks like the pandemic, but also in terms of mental and physical health, the arts have been studied extensively in terms of mental and physical health. If anyone's interested, you can look up a WHO report from 2019 that just catalogs hundreds of studies that have been done on this particular topic. And the mental health part seems pretty intuitive, right? So the arts, making art maybe or enjoying art has been shown to reduce stress and anxiety, reduce depression, all of these things. It's been shown to help people regulate their emotions. So, if folks maybe have, maybe in the era of social media, we could use more emotional regulation, right? So like going and seeing some art could actually help you to kind of moderate those emotions. It can lower your blood pressure, lower cortisol, reduce chronic pain. These are all things that have been studied. So check out that WHO study. And to quote Daisy Fancourt, who wrote the book that is being featured in this University College of London article, she said, if the arts were a pill, we would all be taking it every single day because it's just that beneficial for human health in general, like emotional health. You could argue spiritual health and physical health. So super beneficial. So having a healthy community with healthy individuals and also individuals who know how to relate to each other because they've been, reading fiction and understanding empathy, and they've been learning from the arts how to regulate their emotions. These are all really beneficial things. Okay, so the last point before I start to talk about this in the context of my own institution, I just want to make the point that in the 21st century, because we all exist so much online, on social media, in spaces that are virtual, there's a kind of an isolation that's happening, and this is something that many people have talked about. So, all that information is out there, and you may have noticed it in your own life, and it's great. You all are here getting together, meeting in person, breaking bread. That is incredibly powerful. And that is an example of what I think the arts are really good at doing too. It's creating those third spaces for people to go to have some sort of deliberate activity that they have scheduled into their lives where they can see other human beings and interact with them. And whether they're actually making connections with those people and talking, which is great, or literally just getting out and seeing other humans, that is important, and that is part of building community. So third spaces are incredibly, incredibly important for community building and creating a sense of identity, a sense of place, and that's something that the arts and art institutions excel at. Okay, so now in the context of the Larson Gallery, which is my particular arts institution, I want to just tell you a little bit about some of the ways in which we're putting this into practice and trying to create opportunities for people in Yakima to really cultivate a love of art, which is also our mission statement. So this is an example here of a couple of exhibitions that are recent. So the one on the left is a current exhibition. It is a show of work that is related to the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous people. And that is a collaboration between the Larson Gallery, the War Cry podcast, and the Yakima Valley College Diversity Series. It's a really powerful exhibition. If you get a chance to check it out, it's in our original gallery space. And this is an example of something that it wasn't my idea. This is something that came to us from the community. And it was an idea that was put forth, and the gallery said, oh, yes, right? So like, we want to collaborate and be part of this. And it's a way in which we're trying to kind of like reach out to the community and bring people in to talk about things that are important to them. And this is a specifically very urgent topic. So May happens to be Missing and Murdered Indigenous Peoples Awareness Month. So please keep that in mind and come see the show if you get a chance. It's really good. Emily Machines did a lot of the curatorial work on the timeline, and it's really interesting and powerful stuff. The other exhibition that you see on the right is a show of work by Renee Adams in the foreground, and then in the background you can see some work by 4 different artists from along the West Coast. That one was called Threadlines. Renee's show is called Charm. I don't know if any of you know Renee, but she works at Gallery 1 up in Ellensburg. She's fantastic. She's a super talented artist. Unfortunately, we just took this show down. That was our last exhibition. So if you didn't see it, I'm really sorry. However, we have a new exhibition opening up next Tuesday from 5 to 7 p.m. We have the Department of Visual Art show for the students at YVC. So the student show is super fun. If you've never been to the opening of that particular show, it's amazing because you get all these students who are just like, oh my gosh, my work is on the wall of the gallery. And they're all just so pleased and taking photos with their work and stuff. And there's going to be a lot of cupcakes. So yeah, please join us. Other things that we are doing include workshops, right? So it's not just about viewing art. We also want to get people making art. So there are a couple different options for workshops that we have at the moment. The main offerings are the Yakima Art Academy is holding workshops in our gallery space. The next one of those, and that's for children, right? So if you have children in your life who want to make art, they do that, right? So they're going to be holding a workshop on Saturday, May 23rd from 1 to 3 p.m. And then also what you see posted here in the picture is a new figure drawing series that we have, which is led by Victoria Urrutia. She's part of the Mezcla Collective, really great local artist. And that's going to be, the next one is on May 9th from 1 to 3 p.m. So it's an option for people who want to try figure drawing. If you've never done it, Victoria can teach you how. And if you have done it and you don't want instruction, you can just show up and draw. So that's pretty fun. We're hoping to get additional workshops scheduled in the future, but we just have so much going on. It's kind of hard to get that in there. Other things that we have going on include senior programming. So our senior programming is currently being funded by a grant from the Washington State Arts Commission and the NEA. And that is going to, it's actually a health-related grant. So it's a Healthy Communities grant that is specifically for, because of the fact that the NEA recognizes that art actually impacts people's health, mental health, physical health, and they know it's good for communities. So that's why they created this grant. And so we have two programs. One is Art Afternoons, and that is at the Washington Fruit Community Center on the first Wednesday of every month from 11:30 to 1:30 p.m. And then we have another one called Senior Mornings at the gallery itself, and that's on Thursdays from the third Thursday of every month from 10 a.m. to noon. So our next senior morning is actually a little bit different though. So that the one that we usually do at the gallery this month in May is going to be down in Toppenish at the YVC Learning Center down in Toppenish. So that's going to be specifically to do with like commemorating missing and murdered Indigenous people. That's why we're holding it down there. The instructor for that is going to be Robin Peebushy, and she is going to be leading people in doing beading exercise where you're going to like bead a pin. So that's a really fun event. And our Art Afternoons on May 6th is going to be a class led by Darcy Roberts on pastel painting over at the Washington Fruit Community Center. And so those events are open to seniors, so 65 and older. We're not going to check your card or whatever, but we're encouraging it to be a senior activity. And then we provide the materials, and it's kind of a first come, first serve thing. So far, we haven't had to turn anyone away, but if it gets super popular, we might have to, do something like take reservations. But so far, it's just walk in and make some art. And it's all led by local artists. And it's been incredibly successful, I would say. Okay, next thing is we have exhibitions at Hotel Maison downtown, a great collaboration with the hotel. And again, like trying to work for art in the community. And this is a way that we are working with a hotel to rep local artists by showing work in that space. And people who are coming in as business travelers or whatever, they'll see work that's specifically made by local artists and that's dealing with local concerns. A lot of times there are local landscapes and things in there. And then it's also a way for the artists to kind of like get out there and show their work to these people. We have occasionally openings. You can see this kind of pop-up opening up in the hotel's Masonic temple space. And that was a really fun chance for artists to bring art specifically to that in order to kind of, make it an evening that really highlights the role of the downtown area in the arts in Yakima. And I know there's an ongoing conversation about this, about whether maybe someday we'll be a creative district. And I'd like to say thumbs up. That would be great, right? Downtown is really the heart of Yakima. And so to be able to participate in that, even though our gallery is located on the YVC campus, the Larson Gallery is there for it. We also have talks by artists. So we often have a talk by an artist who has a show in the gallery. A lot of those are open to the public and totally free. We also have members nights, which are for Larson Gallery members. And that's a kind of it's a talk by an artist or local intellectual at about 6 p.m. And the hour before that, we just sort of open it up for members to come in, and they can go next door to the YVC tasting room. They can get some wine or something, come in, enjoy the gallery, because the Larson Gallery Guild, which is our members, are really like, they own the gallery, right? Like it's them who like support us. So we really want to make it their space and create that feeling of that third place where people can meet and talk and socialize around the arts. And then other activities. We do a lot of other stuff too. We sponsor the Yakima Art Festival, which is coming up on June 27th. That's a Saturday. And that is, again, a centerpiece for the arts in our area and trying to really get people excited about art and to kind of showcase work by local artists and local art institutions. So, if you are in charge of an art institution that wants a booth at the festival, let me know. It's a really good place to get together to celebrate the arts in Yakima. And then also you can see there a picture of Gallery Yoga, which goes on the last Wednesday of every month. It's a free yoga session led by Marcia Threlkeld and James Hunter, and they do that at 10 a.m. on the last Wednesday of every month. Okay. So that is all I've got for you today, other than to say, if you have ideas, I am open to ideas, and I would love to have a conversation with you, whatever your ideas are. I can't promise we'll do them, but I can promise to have a conversation about it and that I'm enthusiastic. I'm an enthusiastic listener about these things. So, and this is an example of something that was just an idea that James Hunter threw out. Oh, hey, what if I did this thing in the gallery? And I was like, hey, that sounds pretty cool. And it ended up being a really wonderful experience. And you can see Jane Orleman in the foreground there. Those are her paintings on the wall surrounding James's installation, and he and John Nutting were creating this performance in this space that included music and visuals that were being live coded by John. And it was just this beautiful moment that showcased his work in addition to Jane's work around it. And it was just a very unusual experience of the gallery space. So yeah, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Quinn.
I have a question. You invited everyone to the gallery exhibit, and also obviously there's open times that people can come and look at art. How much does that cost to come?
It is free. We try to do as much free programming as we possibly can. So the only things that currently cost anything are, membership, and then just the workshops. So the figure drawing and the Yakima Arts Academy, but everything else at the moment is free and open to the public.
How much is a membership?
How much is a membership? It varies. The lowest tier is $20, and it goes up from there, various different tiers, depending on what sort of membership you want per year.
Thank you very much for coming. I thought that was very, very interesting. You posted a thing early on in your presentation about the financial impact in the state of Washington. Is there, I've got kind of a two-part question related to that. First is, do you have a figure that would be applicable to the benefit on a nationwide basis? And second, are you finding that there is any, movement in the direction of resisting cutbacks to funding, the arts in schools related to the realization of the benefit, the long-term benefit of the creativity, et cetera? So,
yeah, great question. So I don't have a figure off the top of my head for that, but if you look on the NEA website, they have all the numbers about the individual states and the impact that's estimated. And those numbers, the last one that they did was from 2023, so that's a little bit out of date. But yeah.
Washington State has the highest percentage of contributions from transit support. So we are number one in the nation at 9.8%. So that's that current number, those numbers are still good. So it is still that Washington State is leading the nation in that, and yet we stand about 35th to 38th in the nation in terms of the contributions from the state to funding.
Yeah, and that's specifically an ongoing challenge for the Washington State Arts Commission, because Washington State has gotten itself into a budget crisis. So one of the things that's being cut is the funding. So, we're getting these emails going, oh yeah, we'd love to give you more money, but guess what? The funding got cut again. So it is a thing. The cutbacks are real. In terms of resistance to it, I mean, there are advocates who work specifically to try to get more funding for the arts and also for other kinds of cultural programming. So like Inspire Washington, that works for arts and humanities and like science museums. And so like all of these kinds of institutions. So that is a really good resource if you're interested in kind of advocacy work. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I think a lot of us who are involved in the arts just think, oh yeah, it's so obvious to us that it's beneficial, right? But just getting out there and saying it in front of people is important, because I think there are a lot of folks who don't really realize how deeply ingrained the arts are in us as humans, and how beneficial they are to our flourishing. So economically, yes. Health-wise, yes. But also just like being a person who's enjoying being in this body on this planet, right? It's important. So I don't know if that really answered your question, but thank you. Oh, thank you all.
Lorna's.
Oh,
I
is
think
there-
there's one more. There's one more. Lorna's getting there. We're not that fast.
Are you doing anything specifically for kids, like particularly in the summertime or anything like that, or can they come to your workshops, or is there like camps or anything that they can do in that nature?
Yeah, so the Yakima Arts Academy has a workshop in our space once a month approximately, and the next one is on May 23rd. So that's a Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. And you can find information on the Yakima Arts Academy social media, or you can also follow our social media or just check it every once in a while to see updates on those things. Our website isn't the best place for that kind of information because it's sort of like a slower document. But our social media, we really try to be agile with that and post what we do every month so that everyone knows about all of the different things that are happening. So. Never. They always should participate. Yeah. Not just for kids. Yeah. There's this beautiful drawing that I'm reminded of by the artist Theodore Jericho, where he was on his deathbed and he was literally drawing his hand. He was just sitting there like drawing, and that's how he kind of brought himself to a good end. So I think we should continue, yeah, until we're done. Thanks.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you, Krista, for being here. It's good stuff. Okay. Our next couple of meetings, we are here at the Convention Center. Next week, May is many things. It's also Mental Health Awareness Month. And next week, we will have Jeff Scott talking about destigmatizing mental health. These are conversations that need to be had. We have to talk about mental health. It's pretty safe to say that most of us have all been touched by it somewhere in our circles as well. So very important topic next week. The week after that, we will be getting an update on White Pass and their expansion from Ricky Cooper. We're always staying on top of those folks and what they are doing. So we'll be doing that. And then on the 21st, it's our Academic Scholarship Awards program, which is always a favorite. So we have something for everyone in our club. You've heard me say it. We do. So invite your circles, invite your teams to, those on your team to our club. We are not a closed club. We are open to everybody. So bring them. Okay, so now you're going to get out your white ticket. For the heart of our club drawing, we had $28.25. So we had $2,825 in the pot before today. Pretty safe to say we've got over $3,000 now. So if you draw the joker, you get half the pot, and Rotary Charities gets the other half. And then you take us all out to lunch as well. Okay. Is everybody ready? I don't hear anything. Is everybody ready? Okay. Always upside down. Always. 0, 2, 1, 0, 2, 2. Still not hearing anything. Oh! Okay, Margaret has the cards right there. Sorry, I forgot to say that part. So you can draw a card from Margaret. Margaret will come to you. Gotta draw the joker. Ken. She trusts you, Ken. It's not many cards left. Oh. Oh, it's a jack. That was close. Jack, joker. Woo. Yeah, oh, there's some money in that pot. And the joker's in there, right, Margaret? I'm just going to call her on it really quick. See, there it is, people. There it is. She doesn't do magic. It did come out of the deck. Okay, I end our Rotary meetings with what I call my play of the day. And today that is, if you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping in a room with a mosquito. Think about that. Come on now. So that's from the Dalai Lama, and that's the second quote I've taken from the Dalai Lama because I had one last week from the Dalai Lama. So I don't know, he's on my brain. But seriously, even the smallest action can create a significant ripple effect, right? No matter how small or insignificant you may feel, you still have the potential to disrupt stagnation and initiate radical change. Who does that? Rotarians do that. You all do that all the time, day in and day out. No one's too small to make a difference. So just remember that and take that with you today for a little bit of inspiration. Thank you all for being at Rotary today and for being in our game. And with that, this game is over.
Good job. Yeah.